Hi guys, thank you for clicking on today's video. If you saw my other videos, then you know I built this PC here, which is a 5600X and 3060 build, but I actually built it to be upgradable in the future, and I actually designed all of my PCs to be upgradable in the future, so that way all I have to do is swap out generally the GPU if I want to do an upgrade. So in this video, I'm going to quickly go over what that upgrade path could look like, especially if you are on this platform or if you are planning on building it with the same idea of, okay, here's how I could kind of upgrade it in the future, especially if you're not that knowledgeable in PCs yet, or if this is your first PC ever. If you're new here, I go by NickyT and I create tech, gaming, and PC related build content. So if that resonates, hit that sub button for me. And as you watch this, if you enjoy it and you learn something, then hit that like button and drop me a comment down below. What do you think about this format? And did this help you actually learn something? So hopefully this video is informative. Let's jump right in. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Hardware Canucks. I actually watched one of their videos and this really made a lot of sense to me. It was the perfect video at the time for what I was testing because I had a theory that CPUs have become so good that they rarely are the bottleneck nowadays. And it's generally GPU based with how demanding graphics are nowadays, especially on higher resolutions. So now what they did is they actually compiled and created this really cool butterfly chart that shows how well processors scale even with higher end GPUs. So let's take a look at this real quick. So if you guys see this, basically in the middle here, I'll explain the chart. In the middle, they have all of the different processors, and then they tested it with a 9070 XT and a 5070 on Ultra 1440p. Now you're looking at Cyberpunk, which has become the new crisis. They used a i5 9600K and a 2070 as that control to really see where that jump is, which I thought was kind of funny. But if you were basically on an i5 9600K and up or a Ryzen 5 3600X and up, your FPS is going to be so similar because of how well CPU scaling is, especially when you're playing at more demanding resolutions. Now, where you would see this graph start to change a little bit is when it's on 1080p, where it becomes more CPU bound and less GPU bound for being less GPU demanding generally and more CPU demanding with keeping up the amount of frames. So it's really interesting to see. And that was the reason why I actually built the 5600X PC, is because I could get it for super cheap, brand new, or used for the processor. And I knew that I could drop in a 5070 if I wanted to, 4080, whatever, even 4090 or whatever you want to do. I don't think you really see too big of a dip until you start getting into something like a 5090, where you start having less of a GPU bottleneck because it's a 4090 or 5090 that are really going to be the only ones doing that. But I think in this case, you're looking at pretty much most people's purchases, the 5070 or the 9070 XT are going to be within most people's budget, so it makes the most sense. Now, if you're looking at this, look at the 5600X here. 120 FPS on the 9070 XT, which is pretty consistent all the way up to a 9800 X3D. Keep in mind, 9800 X3D, I have this in my personal build. I think I paid $500 for it. You can get a 5600X new on Newegg for $160, or you can get it used for $100, and you can almost buy the entire 5070 or 9070 XT with the savings, and you are not getting that big of a difference in frames. Now, the one thing that you'll see as a big difference are the 1% lows. Now, if you are somebody that's really focused on having better 1% lows, the 3600X, you want to step up to a 5600X, because that's where you'll start noticing the 1% low causing stuttering, and it's really going to affect the latency, and it's not going to feel as good. If you step up to a 5600X, there's really no difference than playing with a 9800 X3D. It's crazy, but it's true. I've done so much testing, and I'm really glad they made this and put it together, because it's really eye-opening to show you can save a ton of money on your PC if you put the right parts into it, and you spend a little bit extra in areas like your power supply and your motherboard quality. Things like that's really going to allow you to be able to expand without having to rebuild your entire PC. So now in this PC, I actually put an 850 watt power supply that is also ATX 3.1. Now, what that means is that I can use a 5070 if I wanted to instead of a 3060. And I actually have the 12-volt pin power connector or whatever it's called. But I have the connector to be able to actually power the newer NVIDIA GPUs that require that special power cable. And then if I wanted to, I could also power a 9070 XT, and I can sell this 3060 and sell it for probably $180 right now. A 5070 I can usually get for $550 brand new. And now I've taken that price down by almost $200 and makes my upgrade that much more affordable, and I don't have to change anything else in this PC. Now, the whole reason why I wanted to make this video is because if you're new to PC building, you're not really going to know that right off the bat. And you may be thinking that you need to rebuild a whole new PC if all you're chasing is to get a little bit extra frames. But if you build your PC the right way, then you can make that upgrade and you don't have to change anything. And you can save a ton of money, and you can skip the next few generations if you want and see how all of this plays out. So I would always recommend over investing on your motherboard generally. Not too much though. There's definitely overpaying in motherboards, but always upgrade your power supply. Make sure that it can handle higher end GPUs in the future. Realistically, you could probably get by with like a 600 watt power supply or 550 with a 3060, but you would not be able to power a 5070 with that same power supply. You need probably at least a 700, 750 for a 5070. And with an 850, you have plenty of headroom and you're never going to have any issues with power. So that was the reason why I decided to buy a 850 watt power supply to put it in here. But I also knew I was going to use it in different builds. So that was one of the reasons too. But I wanted to make sure I made that correlation for you guys. If you haven't seen that video, go back, watch the build video, and you can see even with buying some of those parts with the idea to upgrade them, I still only paid $705 for this PC because I found really good deals and I knew the pricing in the market to look for. And then I had an idea, I want to be able to upgrade this in the future. So part of what I'm going to be doing is taking out this 3060 and putting in, I actually have a 5070 in stock. So I want to be able to just pop that in there, and that'll be another video, but you guys can see that. But I think it's pretty awesome, right? You can save a ton of money. Make sure in the future when you're doing a PC build, this is why building your PC yourself and investing a little bit of time to actually learn and do it yourself is going to pay dividends in the future, because you're going to be able to make these micro adjustments to your PC and be able to squeeze out a lot of performance and stretch the lifespan of your PC for years and years to come. So I think it's a cool way to mildly do that quick upgrade. And that's the difference between playing on 1080p high or epic and going to all the way up to 4K, and all you had to spend was a couple $100 on a new GPU selling your old one, and you can jump up 2 generations of resolution. It's pretty crazy. All right, guys, if this video helped you, again, please drop a like on it. Let me know down in the comments, did this open your eyes a little bit? If you haven't, definitely check out Hardware Canucks' video on this. It's really cool. They do a great job. Hardware Unboxed also does a really cool job. They do a great job at really showing you the value of different processors, like price per dollar or performance per dollar. They do a really good job of doing that. Check out those resources. I'm sure if you see my channel, I'm sure you've seen theirs. They're definitely goated in the space, but they're pretty awesome. Check them out. And then again, if you guys enjoy this video, please subscribe. I'm really trying to grow this YouTube channel. And if you guys want to support the channel, memberships are there. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So hopefully you learned something, and hopefully I can help you. See you guys.